Okay, today I'm going to see about giving you a quick rundown on extra stitches. The most common place to get extra stitches is actually when you change between purl and knit in the same row. I know I did it a lot to begin with, and I still occasionally do it. Okay, with this piece I worked this up just so I could use it for this. Kind of messing around with back and forth, almost a basket weave, but not quite. So, I started out with 20 stitches. Across the bottom I cast on 20. Up here at the top I still have 20. Now I'm going to go across the row and I'm going to purposely make some mistakes. And then I'm going to show you, or as I make the mistakes, I'm going to show them to you. And so hopefully you can recognize them when you make them. And then, of course, we can tink back and go fix them. Alright, so I was knitting 2 on each end. And I'm reading my stitches, the stitches below. That's a purl. And a purl. Now it goes to knit. Now if you notice, I'm not putting my yarn in the back. I'm going to go through and do a knit without changing my yarn around first. Okay? Now that I've done this, come back and look at it. See how that stitch right there looks? And stitch right there. See, it's sideways. It doesn't sit straight like all the others. This is when you know you've not switched around your yarn. Okay? So you can go 2 or 3 stitches down the row. Now, of course, the first one is the one that's going to make the mistake. After that, your yarn's in the right place, so you're not going to have that problem anymore. Okay? So take a good look at it. There's that stitch right there. It's kind of sideways. It looks odd. It doesn't, it's going into that stitch, and it's not really hooked to anything. There's no scarf, there's no noose, there's no nothing. So, I'm going to find that loop right under here. I'm going to put my needle in it and pull it back. There's another video for tinking back. Okay. Now, I'm back to the stitch where I made the mistake. So I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my thing in there. Now see? Now it just corrected itself. I'm back to where I began. So now I can just put it back to the back like it's supposed to be and knit as normal. Now I don't have an extra stitch. That's actually the most common way to get an extra stitch. Okay? So, we go along. Oh, I've got a purl. Doesn't look right, does it? See, I did it again. If you noticed, I was trying to purl and I had my yarn in the wrong place. So I can just go back in and pull it around. Okay? So we can try that again. I've got my yarn in the back. And I'm going to purl with it like that. Yes, it screws it up. And it looks horrible. But see, second time around, of course, it's right. But when you go back and look at it, how in the world would you count that? You're going to end up with extra stitches all along the way. So I find that bottom loop, and boom, I fixed it. Okay? So, make sure when you're changing stitches in a row that you make sure that you change your yarn over. Now you can fix it once you get to the next row, but you're going to end up with some loose yarn across the back. Most of the time it will work itself out depending on your project. However, it's usually best just to keep an eye and make sure that you don't do that. See, so you can recognize it, see what it looks like, see what it does. See, that one looks very different than the other one, where I knitted the wrong way. This one was where I purled the wrong way. So I pull it back, flip around, and I'm good to go. Okay. So, Again, you see I've got my yarn in the wrong place. I've got my yarn in the front, and I just went in to knit. So, there's your last look at that one. See what it looks like on the top? What it looks like on the side. And there's what it looks like on the back. Okay, see that stitch is really not attached to anything. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, when you get something like that, when you start counting stitches and everything like that, on the previous row, this is probably what you've done, or on a row even before that, because you can go through with that extra stitch and you can knit it. And then when you go back, you should go along not realizing it, then turn around, you can knit into that stitch and turn it into a stitch. Then it's a matter of following it down until you find the odd stitch. Okay? So, pull it back out, go around where you're supposed to. It's still a good idea to count your stitches at the end of every row, especially on small projects like this, to make sure that you've got all your stitches and no more. So remember, I told you this was 20. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, even after all that, I'm back to 20 stitches. Okay? Hope it helps.